We just looked at solving for standard deviation. The reason why we use standard deviation is to better understand how spread out the data is under what we consider a normal distribution. Normal distribution are those distributions that have bell-shaped curves called normal curves. It's a smooth bell-shaped curve that depicts frequency values that are symmetric about the mean, which indicates that right down the middle is the mean. It is symmetric, so 50% of the data is on the left, 50% of the data is on the right. If you fold it across the mean, it's going to fold over on top of itself. That is a normal distribution. Now, the normal distribution, it follows what is considered the 68, 95, 99.7 rule. And so what that says is that if you put the mean in the center, you go one standard deviation out. So you subtract one standard deviation and you add one standard deviation. Remember that S is a standard deviation. The amount of data that is in between these two lines is going to be 68%. Which, okay, if you look at this curve, that's the highest amount. That's a good chunk of the data. So this rule is 68. One standard deviation includes 68% of the data. Two standard deviations. So this is two standard deviations out. So like our mean minus 2 and our mean plus 2 standard deviations. That is going to include, if I go up and across, this right here will include 95% of our data because it includes this middle 68% and then some more. Then we go out a third standard deviation, so the mean plus 3 standards, and the mean minus 3 standards. That includes this 95% all the way in here, plus some extra. And so all of this, all between here and here, is 99.7%. Now you'll notice that I didn't say 100%. That's because we have this amount out here for those outliers. We always have that possibility of data that is more than 3 standard deviations out. Now, if I know that in between these two amounts is 68%, remember I said that this line right here, the mean, is half. Well, that means that half of it, that 68 is here and half of it's here. So that's going to give me 34% on each side of this line. So between here and here, each one of those is 34%. Because I take 68% and divide by 2. Now to find the values that go in here, what we're going to do is we're going to take 95 minus that middle 68, because remember that 95 includes this 68, so we've got to subtract out that 68, and then divide by 2 to get this part out here. So if we take 95 minus 68 and divide by 2, that's going to give us 13.5%. in each of these little bitty portions. To get the amount that's in these two portions, we're going to take the 99.7 and we're going to subtract out that 95% because we're going back in one bar and we're dividing by 2. So 99.7 minus 95 divided by 2 will give us a 2.35%. And then these last little bitty parts right here, we're going to take 100 minus the 99.7 because the entire graph has to add up to 100% divided by 2. That's going to be a 0.15%. So we have 0.15 out in these portions. And now if you add up all of these, that's going to give you 100%. And I'll show you in the next video the reason why we use this and how we're going to use this.